Someone sits down at their computer, types a few prompts, and finally renders a deeply personal image they've held in their head for years. They post it online. Almost instantly, the comment section shatters it to pieces. The responses are hostile. Commentators call the work illegitimate and categorize it as theft, arguing that using a machine to generate an image disqualifies anyone from being called an artist. These interactions happen thousands of times a day. They are localized skirmishes in a massive, gridlocked war where both sides are talking past one another. This debate feels impossible to resolve because we are having two entirely different conversations mashed together at the same time. When we untangle the threads, we find a fundamental error. Critics weaponize valid economic arguments against individuals seeking a way to express themselves. To understand the future of creativity, we have to separate the physical vehicle of the art from the emotional journey of the person making it. The first thread concerns the legitimate fears of the professional, working artist. Modern AI models were built on millions of uncompensated human works. These artists never gave consent for their portfolios to be used as training data, and they haven't seen a cent of the profit. Then there is the threat of market saturation. For gig workers who rely on composing commercial jingles or drawing technical illustrations, the ability for a client to generate functional media in seconds is a direct threat to their survival income. This economic fear is a massive, necessary legal debate. It is a matter of labor rights and copyright that tech companies, regulators, and the courts must eventually resolve. But there is a second thread, the human right of the amateur to find a voice. Consider two people. Persona A has the formal training to translate their internal emotions into music manually. Persona B feels the exact same emotions, but lacks the technical ability to release them. For a lifetime, those feelings have had no exit. Generative AI acts as an invisible instrument for people like Persona B. It translates their internal intent and specific taste into art without requiring years of physical mastery over a tool. History shows that whenever a new technology lowers the barrier to entry for an art form, the existing gatekeepers declare it illegitimate. In the 19th century, painters mocked early photography. They claimed the mechanical hardware did all the work, and therefore the results didn't count as art. In the 1960s and 70s, orchestral musicians tried to ban electronic synthesizers. They saw a grid of knobs and patch cables and insisted it wasn't a real instrument. We saw the same pattern in the 1980s with hip-hop sampling. Critics dismissed it as stealing, yet that illegitimate method went on to dominate global culture. AI is the latest chapter in this history. The definition of art always expands to include the new tool, even when the transition is painful. We can protect the livelihoods of professionals while simultaneously celebrating the newfound expression of the amateur. Both of these goals are valid. This shift is happening because technology is beginning to interact with human intention on a neurological level. In human-computer symbiosis, modern systems learn to execute goals rather than just following manual keystrokes. Brain-computer interfaces are already learning to decode a patient's intention, allowing them to move a robotic arm simply by thinking about the goal. In this environment, the boundary between biology and machine blurs. The AI acts as a bridge, extending our internal capabilities into the physical world. AI functions as a mirror. It lacks its own internal compass or emotional drive, acting instead as a reflective surface for the user's specific intent. If you approach the tool with nothing to say, the machine reflects back hollow, generic noise. But when you bring your unique lived experience, your specific grief, your heritage, or your joy, the machine amplifies that human voice. The conversation often fixates on whether the software is truly creative, but the real change lies with the person who has carried a vision for 40 years without a way to share it. These tools allow those internal voices to finally find a medium.